So Dylan, tell me about being a youth pastor in Waco, Texas, and then some of the other things that you're doing.
Yeah, been in Waco for a little while now, and been in Texas my whole life. But Waco is a different animal. It's got all kinds of stuff going on, a lot of rich history there, and of course, Baylor is there, and so it's got its challenges for sure. The thing about Waco that is different than any place I've been before in Texas is the homeless population is incredibly high there.
Mm.
Lots and lots and lots of lower income families and split families and broken homes and that kind of stuff. It's really, really evident there, I guess, for lack of a better word. And so I think for per capita, Waco's like number two or three in the nation. I could be wrong, but it's at least in the top five for homeless population per capita.
Wow.
And it is just, at first I was like, this is going to be kind of a scary thing to do, but it has been a real blessing for me and my family to be there. And we love it there. We have a
That's
great group
awesome.
of students in our church, and we have a great support network at our church. And, we're surrounded at our church, which is Columbus Avenue Baptist Church.
Hmm.
We're surrounded by people who are like-minded and want to see the gospel go forth and make Jesus famous, and that's our whole motto: is to make disciples who make disciples. And so I do that full time, and then also I travel on the road occasionally, mostly in the summers and weekends, with my best friend Chris Hurt, who's the youth pastor at First Baptist Church in Frisco, Texas.
Okay.
And we have a comedy drama team called Hurt and Manley. And in fact, we're actually out right now in Northern California and San Francisco area at the Alliance Redwoods doing 2 weeks out here. So, man, life is definitely full of fun, but it's full of challenges, and just trying to enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah, well, that is so awesome, and it's exciting to hear that you're connecting with your best friends, another youth pastor, and you guys are just going at it not only from a youth ministry standpoint, but also making people laugh,
Absolutely.
and that
Yeah,
that is
and it's
so cool.
fun. It's a
Joy is an
blast.
awesome thing. Well, Dylan, you posted a story on Facebook about buying a meal for a gentleman. Can you share that story with us?
Yeah, so it was a Wednesday night, and it was after our Wednesday night activities with our students were over with, and um, we generally go out to eat somewhere, a few of us, and just kind of hang out and fellowship and that kind of stuff. And we had gone to Chick-fil-A. Of course, it's a super popular place to always go. Chick-fil-A
We
is the
got our first
best.
one in Washington State last
It
week.
is glorious. It's glorious. I eat there at least once or twice a week. It's fantastic. And so anyway, we were in Chick-fil-A, and as we were leaving, there was a man outside, which is not uncommon at this particular location. There was a man outside who was clearly down on his luck, and he had a dog with him. And anyway, I just asked him if I could buy him a meal as our students were kind of filing out of their cars, and he said, "Yeah, I could eat. I haven't eaten in a couple days." And so I went inside and got him some food and brought it back out to him and handed it to him, and we just started a conversation.
Mm,
And during this conversation, we shared stories, and he shared his life story with me, and
mm,
um, we had this. I think that anyway, at some point in my life, had developed this misconception that all homeless people come from the same cloth, and this man just sharing his story and just about how he
wow.
had lost his job and couldn't get employment, and he's not from the area, and so he didn't have any family or friends really to contact, and no money to get to a motel or anything, and
Yeah.
just really sobering reminder
Mm,
that not everybody is in the box we put them in.
right.
And so we continued to talk, and I went in and got him something else to eat because I could see he devoured the first thing, and so I got him something else to eat, and we laughed and talked, and I shared my story and just kind of shared with him who Jesus was to me. And um, about 9:50, almost 10 o'clock, I said, "Man, hey man, I hate to cut it short, but I got to get going, go home and see the kids and the wife, and a little bit before I go to bed." And he said, "Well, hey man, thank you so much." And he had a real shaky voice, like he was about to
Mm,
cry, and I could see a couple tears welling up in his eyes. And I said, "Hey man, you're welcome. I wish I could have done more. It's just a couple meals." And said, and he said, "No, man, not for that, not for the food. I mean, thank you for that, but thank you for making me feel like a person."
wow.
And man, it hit me right in the heart.
Wow.
And I just
Wow.
asked him if I could pray for him, and he said absolutely. And so I put my arms around him and embraced this guy, and we hugged, and I prayed for him, and asked him we got information, and his name is Tim, and
Mm,
it's just one of those heartbreaking moments. And I went home and I just couldn't. Even now, it's been hard not to
yeah,
think about him every day and hoping that he's okay, and
right.
wishing that I could interact with him again. And so I'm praying that God would give me the opportunity to talk with him again.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. And he claims to be a believer, which is
Oh,
I hope that's true. And
yep.
he said that he's trusting in God even in these hard times. And so it was a really impactful moment in my
Yeah.
life for sure.
Yeah. Wow. So what were you think? You were thinking when he first thanked you, just that it was just for the meal, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's what kind of effect did this heartfelt thank you have on you then, and how have you been carrying that?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, I didn't expect to thank you at all, and if he hadn't thanked me, I'd have been fine with that. I wasn't doing it for someone to say, "Hey, you're good," or "you're number one." I was doing it because
Right.
this guy was hungry and needed something to eat,
Right.
and I've been there as a kid growing up, and that's a different story. But I've been there,
Yeah.
and so for him to just say in such a beautiful, heartfelt way, "Thank you
Yeah.
for just making me feel, like a person, for having a conversation with me." It really it leaves an impact on me because I think about all the small things like conversations and people that we come in contact with that we take for granted, that I take for granted anyway. Um, and man, it's a sobering reminder that there are people who all they want is just to know they're loved and know they're
Right.
cared about, and for him to have that, and maybe have not had that in who knows how long.
Right.
It was a stark reminder to me that that's what the church is all about, is showing the love of Christ to everyone, not just those in our comfortable circle.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, how has this inspired the teens in your youth group and others around you?
Yeah, we got some things on our slate. We have some really cool organizations in Waco. We have Mission Waco, and then we also have Church Under the Bridge, which is a church literally that meets under an overpass on
That's
Saturday
awesome.
morning. And it's grown. It started, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, or maybe more, and it has grown to one of the largest mission organizations in Central Texas. And it's what it is. It is what it is. You
Yeah.
you go and you minister to homeless people, and you don't go there and with an agenda. You go and hang out with them and talk to them and have conversations, and that's it. And you
Yep.
share the love of Christ. And so when I get back into Waco, we have some things this summer that we're going to do. We're going to go serve, and we're already going to some mission trips this summer to different places. But we're going to start serving more in our own community, and really hoping to see our students continue to grow in their faith,
Yeah.
and really I hope this challenges them.
Yeah.
I never want to be the guy that just keeps everything comfortable. I like to kind of turn things on end.
Right.
I guess in some respects I'm a rebel, and so I genuinely hope that they will see this and go, okay, that wasn't a huge thing he did. It wasn't like something massive. He didn't have to sell his home or his firstborn or anything like that,
Right.
But he did an act of kindness. He did something nice. He did something that was inspired by Jesus, and so we want to do the same thing. And I hope that it gives them the confidence and the boldness to say, you know what, if he can do it, we can do it too.
Right.
That's my prayer.
Amen. Amen. Well, that is awesome. And I'll tell you, as a former youth pastor myself, anytime we can inspire our young people, our
Absolutely,
teens to go out and be the hands and feet of Christ, to read the latter half of Matthew 25 and actually put it into practice,
no doubt. Yeah,
we've done something right, and that's a good day. So.
absolutely, man.
That's a good day. Well, Dylan, it's been great chatting with you this morning, and thank you so much for being the church.
Yeah, thank you,
And
Brian.
I know you look forward to hearing the same words that I look forward to hearing. When the Lord looks at us, right in the eye and says, "Well done, good and faithful servant."
Absolutely,
And it feels so good to be the hands and feet of Christ. And Dylan, we'd love to stay in contact with you
absolutely.
here with Cell Life Church and Cell Life Church Live. And we'd love to hear more about your comedy tour sometime too.
Yeah, no
So
doubt, man.
we'll have to connect with that, and it's just an exciting time. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Brian.
You bet. You bet.